the coaching staff that's here. I'm just excited to get to work.
What was your interaction like with the Cowboys prior to this? Were you hoping that maybe this would be the spot that you would land, or was this kind of a surprise for you?
Yeah, it was a surprise, honestly. It was a surprise. That's all I could pretty much say to that. I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but I'm happy that I got that phone call. So.
How would you describe yourself as a player overall? I think one of the things that stands out when we watch you is your finishing ability. Obviously, you're super disruptive. The tackles for loss speak for themselves. But what are Cowboy fans getting in you?
What they getting?
This team is going to get everything out of me first and foremost. But as a player, I would describe myself as somebody who's very athletic. I could play on the edge.
Play on the edge.
Be off the ball. I could walk up.
Off the ball.
Rush the inside.
The inside.
I have a knack for the football.
A knack for the football.
I sometimes get, there might be a knock on my size, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, the type of player I am, I'm a dog. I consider myself a dog, and I'm going to get to the football by any means. That's what this organization is getting out of me for sure.
Can't wait to see it as well. Now, you made such a jump in your game.
So what I'm going to get at right here, like I said, 21 tackles for loss, 16.5 sacks last season, 3 forced fumbles. So he had those type of things. And he said he can't play off-ball linebacker. So if I were to try to craft something together and say maybe, just maybe, if they see something that I didn't see earlier, maybe they can put him as the version of what we saw out of Darius Leonard. Maybe that could be the situation. Same guy Matt Eberflus had. Like I said, when you look at everything, NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2018, 3-time first-team All-Pro, 18, 2020, 2021, second-team All-Pro in 2019, 3-time Pro Bowler, NFL forced fumble leader and all of this good stuff. So maybe that is who he is, a younger Darius Leonard. Not saying that he would bring that to the table. Maybe that's why Matt Eberflus said, hey, I got a guy that's 6'2", 230. I got a guy now that's 6'2", 240-ish, just a little bit bigger, but he can probably do those same roles.
From your 21, 22, 23 seasons into 2024 where you had the big-time jump up in production, what was the biggest change to your game from 23 to 24 to have the success that you did?
Dude, I would just say I definitely paid a lot more attention to detail. I did extra, but at the same time, I played free within our scheme at BC. And I think I get big credit to Coach O'Brien and Coach Tim Lewis for what they did and what they helped me do, showing that I could play on the inside and I could play on the outside as well, and I could play off the ball as well. So just big credit to them, and I think that definitely helped with my spark of production.
Donovan, you spent some time with the Cowboys quarterbacks coach Steve Shimko at Boston College. I know he's on the offensive side of the ball, but what's your relationship like with him, and what were some of the conversations that you had with him throughout the process in those pre-draft meetings and now leading up to today?
Yeah, so I actually didn't talk to up until this point, but
that boy phone.
We had a great relationship at BC. He actually, one of the ones that recruited me from BC because he's a Jersey guy himself, and. Last time I saw him was actually when we went down to Dallas and played SMU. He actually, he stopped by the hotel because, and we have a relationship that's, kind of goes past football. He helped and, watched me develop and grow into a young man. So it'll be great to see him when I step into them doors soon.
You were a 2-time team captain at Boston College. Brian Schottenheimer's been very clear that as the head coach of the Cowboys, he wants to build a really strong culture, and you kind of fit that mold. How important is the culture aspect and the locker room aspect of football for you, and how much pride do you take in taking a leadership role on whatever team you're on?
Boy, that boy Wi-Fi.
Two-time team captain at Boston College. Brian Schottenheimer has made it very clear that
Trey Harris really gone, man.
How important is the locker room culture and just being a leader for you, and how much
Chargers looking good
stepping into a role like that?
Yeah, it's very important. At the same time, I understand that as a rookie, you got to earn that. You got to earn your respect from the veterans. You got to go out there. You got to go to work. You got to make plays, and then you don't just walk into a building and you're just a leader. of the room leader of that team. So it'll be something that'll be earned, obviously. But I do see myself as a leader. But I'd love to, and I can't wait to learn from the good veterans inside that locker room.
All right,
No doubt, man. That was a good segue for him to call in and tell people that, hey, I'm willing to learn that spot. My only thing is, if they use him as an edge rusher, we got too many guys at that spot already. We got a Marshawn Nealon. We got a Sam Williams. We also got a Dante Fowler. We also have Michael Parsons. We also have Tyrus Wheat, and not Thins, but we got all of those guys. So we'll see how this is going to work from here, Cowboy Nation. Am I fond of the pick? I think that we should have went with Trey Harris. I think we should have went with somebody else like a Trey Amos, but it is for what it is, Cowboy Nation. Let me know how y'all feel about all of that as far as him getting drafted. Maybe it's the upside, 21 tackles for loss, 16.5 sacks. Maybe we'll see something down the stretch. Let me know of y'all thoughts in the chats, okay? Peace on that one.